Hello, and I hope you're doing well today. I would like to talk a bit about the Awoken Clan from Monster Train. Win condition for the Awoken is: for earlier covenants, spikes do most of the work. For later covenants, you will want to frontline for an effective backline. Their mechanics are: spike. Spike is busted at lower covenants. It's boss killing and AoE bundled into one. Its boss killing ability takes a big hit at higher covenants where they will have vast HP pools. But the utility is still present. And then there is quick. The keyword allows you to attack before your opponents. While it's a great keyword, note its anti-synergy with spikes and revenge effects. The Awoken champion, it's very hard to argue against going all bristling for her, the spikes upgrade. So let's take a look at the comments. The Steel Enhancer recently was buffed to cost 0 embers. I don't think it makes a big difference, as 3 attacks and 3 health is just very lackluster for a card in your deck to have. Sting. Deal 5 damage to the front enemy unit, draw +1 next turn. As it is as a base card, it basically does nothing and then replaces itself next turn. But when you get one of many artifacts that are buffing the Sting, then it becomes usable. And with the Stygian alliance, where increased spell power isn't that hard to get, it becomes even better. Wine Grasp. Deal 3 damage, move this unit to the front. Now, Wine Grasp is an excellent common for the Awoken. That card would be good, even if it dealt no damage, let alone the 3 damage. It's just so good. Glimmer. Restore 2 health to all friendly units and deal 2 damage to all enemy units. Glimmer isn't very good, as it is, but once upgraded, it upgrades both its healing part and its damage part, so spell power is very good with Glimmer. Now, ideally, you want better area of effects cards, spells, but if you don't have an Hellhorn alliance, then Glimmer is one of the best area of effect cards actually. Razor Sharp Edge. Now, I believe Razor Sharp Edge to be a usable Steel Enhancer, because while it reduces your unit's HP, it's actually does something. Plus 10 attack each time you cast it is a lot more noticeable than +3 and +3 that you won't be noticing at all. Restoration Detonation heals a lot and deals a lot of damage, so why am I not so keen on it? Well, it's because you need to have Restoration Detonation in your hand while one of your front line is missing health and has something relevant right across it to damage. That actually doesn't happen a lot. What I would do to remedy this problem is upgrading it with Frozen, which lacks Restoration Detonation in your hand, so you will always be able to use it when the situation presents itself. Restore. Restore 2 health, apply regen 1. I don't like it. I think Restore is one of the worst starting cards in the game, and because basically does nothing. Restore 2 health is nothing. Apply regen 1 is nothing, unless you have some previous regen applications on that unit. I find myself either removing or upgrading my restores as fast as possible in my runs. Wildwood Sap is a better restore, basically, and it's not your starting card, so there you go. Sharpen. enhanced with +4 attack, applies spikes 4 for 2 ember. Now the hefty ember cost aside, Sharpen will win you a lot of games, because especially in the early covenants, in the early difficulty levels, spike 4 means a lot. I would recommend getting 2 reduced cost upgrades for the Sharpen, so that it will serve you better. But what about the uncommons? Are they any good? Ensnare. For 0 ember, apply rooted 1 to an enemy unit and draw 1 next turn. Ensnare is an incredible uncommon. It's invigorating solution. Consumes itself to draw 3 cards next turn. Invigorating solution is also a great card. You can remove the consume and lower its cost to get a 2 card advantage just whenever. Preserved Thorns is fairly hard to recommend. Unless you got some magic spell damage thing going with your allies, you probably don't need Preserved Thorns. Pyre Grow is mostly welcome. Trading 3 card advantage for +1 ember for the rest of the battle is honestly not a bad deal. Animus of Speed is frankly great. Quick is one of the most impactful keywords you can have, and 25 attack is just excellent for a creature that Awoken wants. And honestly, she would be great if it wasn't for the Animus of Will with multi-strike 2. Animus of Will is better than Animus of Speed because at a baseline, Animus of Speed still needs multi-strike to get the most out of her great attack value. And multi-strike is a very expensive upgrade. Whereas Animus of Will, since she already has multi-strike 2, which is unbelievable, basically, needs the cheaper plus attack plus health options. Now you should note that if they're both properly upgraded, Animus of Speed does end up being the better creature, but she is also a lot more expensive and quick, while an excellent keyword, still has some anti-synergy with spike and revenge effects. Edge Prior is one of the least helpful priors in my opinion. However, reducing healing cards' mana cost works, because healing spells are overcosted most of the time for how little effect they provide. And also, more often than not, healing spells has some extra effects that you want, and Edge Prior just makes it easier to cast those. Engraft is honestly a weird card. You can upgrade any part of it that you'd want in your deck, so it's versatile in that aspect. Doesn't really fill any niche, but helps you go through your deck faster. But not picking it also helps you go through your deck faster, so. Husk Hermit is a beefy frontline with a sweep attack. Now, where Husk Hermit really shines isn't a heavy Awoken deck at all, but as an Awoken ally, he is indispensable. That's because an Awoken primary gets access to better frontliners and better area of effect suppliers than Husk Hermit. Pyre Shards is one of the Awoken staples. Pyre Shards gives the most spikes for its cost, but you need to upgrade it a lot. Shattered Shell doesn't frontline good enough or deal enough damage to be worth picking. You should only pick it if you really need an area of effect supply. Awoken Hollow is your front line of choice. Wildwood Custodian is usually worth it in Awoken builds, as since Awoken deals damage primarily through spikes, having a useless creature in your stack to better develop your secondary or tertiary platforms is usually favorable. Bramble Lash takes too much work to operate, in my opinion. However, once active, solves the spike build's most prominent problem, which is beefy frontliners. Focused growth is very good, but it's also very expensive, so you would want to reduce its cost as soon as possible. Restoring Retreat descends a unit and restores 10 health to it. Now, if you have watched my Hellhorn guide, you will know that I really don't like ascent or descent effects. And I can't say Restoring Retreat makes me like them any better. Awake is great, but very expensive. Don't use it unupgraded. Awake has received a nerf in the latest patch, so it has one less regen. I would say it's still very good. With that, let's take a look at the rares now. Awoken's Rail Spike is good for a combo heavy build where you need your combo pieces as fast as possible, but it's not entirely great beyond that. Unleash the Wildwood has got to have some typos, I'm sure. Give it holdover and it becomes unbelievably good. Channel Song is way too random to be usable. The buffs it provides are very welcome, but I don't want them on a random creature. Shard Channeler is a spike synergy card that you would really want, provided you are going heavy into spikes. Wine Mother was buffed in the most recent patch to be a better frontline, and her damage is dealt via the sting card she provides. Very welcome in a sting heavy build, but not very useful otherwise. Wildwood Tomb is costed very efficiently, but do you really need quick? Adaptive Mutation is great with an Accumulator Rector Flicker, but I can't think of any other good targets. Spreading Spores might just end up winning you the run once upgraded. It's also wonderful versus the Spell Devouring Seraph. Wilting Sapwood is a great card that saves you the first Ember upgrade. You will notice that most of the time, healing spells are a bit overcosted for what they do. Wilting Sapwood helps with that while frontlining to a middling efficiency. Cycle of Life is an excellent card that was recently nerfed. I believe it will still carry you to the end game. However, you will need to reduce the cost as 3 cost is just too much. How about the Relics of the Awoken then? Are they any good? Channel Heart is actually pretty good, provided you have the Sting support in your deck. Cursed Vines is not a bad relic, but its effects will rarely be felt if you're Awoken primary. However, this one is excellent when you're playing as a Awoken secondary. Gnarled Root and Petrified Crucible are both very good for the Awoken, as spikes play a very big role in that strategy. Priory's Cloak. Not bad, not great. The damage dealt is not affected by the spell weakness. Root Split Mask essentially gives you an extra turn. Great with Frostbite builds, or if your main spike stack is at the top level. Saptap is an excellent relic as is anything else that gives you an extra card for free. The bloating fungus increases regen's value by a lot. Not a great relic compared to others, but still better than nothing. Torn casing lets your stink cards pierce enemy armor, which is absolutely insignificant. Torn fruit is excellent if you've got stink synergy going, otherwise there should be better picks available. Awoken Awoken grants you access to Spike's 4 upgrade at the Merchant of Steel for 20 gold base cost. Spike's 4 on a creature won't make or break your run, but it's disproportionately good on earlier circles. Awoken offers the sturdiest frontline and impressive utility with card draw, energy gain, stack control, and healing. Spike mechanic easily replaces AoE as the squishy backline damaging your tanks will inevitably kill themselves. They can't snipe collectors easily, and their ways of dealing with frontliners are a bit lacking, so they require high damage potential and targeted spells from their allies to work best. Thank you for listening to my ramblings on the Awoken, and see you again next time on the Stygian. Take care!